All right. Hey everyone. I'm having some video problems or just all kinds of tech problems today, and so I will not be including video in this session. In today's session, I will be talking about my my book. So in an earlier live stream, I was kind of creating the outline for chapter 6, and this is the completed or nearly completed version of chapter 6. And what I wanted to show you guys today is something that I think is super interesting, which is like how people interact with their editors and what editors are and things like that. So give me a second while I fix a couple things. Cool. Alrighty. That should all be set. Checking that. I need to check my captioner. Still not working. I don't know what I did with it wrong. Because you guys can hear me. Turn that off and on again. See if it'll work. Okay, so. Hey, Brett. Happy Sunday to you as well. It's been a fun weekend. Yesterday, I was working on, I'm so addicted to this little project. It's called kbupdate. And it goes and it gets like any missing patches and stuff, because sometimes WSUS doesn't work, or SCCM misses a patch for whatever reason. And what this does is it gets detailed information about patches, and then it downloads it for you. And it's been a lot of fun because, let's see, I added some, see, the public patching does suck for real all the time. Oh, it's still just get and save. Oh, but I did add in, so if you do computer name, what it'll do is it'll go, because each of these KB updates, it could be a different language, it could be a different architecture, it can be a different, let's go look at it. So you have this, you can see here, the Office 2013, you know, that could be Windows 2003. So each of the patches are so specific that whenever I was like, okay, just go get this patch, it downloaded like a trillion things that I didn't need. So this weekend I spent making all of that more accurate, but I put it behind the scenes. Well, one of the things that you could do is you could specify computer name. It'll log into the computer, it'll get its architecture, it'll get its OS, and then it'll download the patch for that. And then we got Jess Pomfret, who is working on doing install and uninstall. I tried to add paging, and that was so hard. So paging is this. We have www.catalog. Oh my god, this is just from the 90s. I'll do this to give it a little bit of justice. It glows. That's absolutely ridiculous. So I forgot what I was doing. Windows 2003. I don't know, because like we're back in the day. Oh, so what it does is basically this. It'll go, and because this doesn't work, right? Look, always encountered a problem. It would be so much easier if we had the ability to use or RSS, but instead we have to use a whole bunch of invoke web requests and regex. It was really cool. Somebody from Reddit came in and helped with my regex because before I was just doing split parsing. So paging is this next button, but the problem, I worked on it for like 12 hours yesterday, procrastinating what I'm doing now, or what I'm about to do, which is work on my chapter. Dude, regex, I love the power, but I just don't understand it. It breaks my brain, and this is recursion, and so it breaks my brain as well. I used to do paging so well back in the ASP days, and I just forgot how to do it. Like, I'm missing the logic. So I tried, and then I gave up. And let's see what else. Oh, that's our chapter. Oh, so this is Rob and I were talking about like who's gonna cover which chapter and stuff. And that was, we're doing merge requests. So this is GitLab, which is the way that we are doing our book. Then let's see, test KB update. Oh, so this one is to scan for missing stuff. I don't want to like go ahead and replace ACAS or something, but I think it would be a fun exploration to see if it's possible. So back to today's agenda. Today's agenda is this. Last time that we were working on this book on this live stream, this was an incomplete chapter, and now it looks like this. What up? All right. I'm looking at them like, man, I have a lot of work to do today, and I wanted to give everyone some insight into what it looks like. So we have a couple different editors for our book. One of them, FL here, she is like, even though she's not super techie, she understands writing extraordinarily well. And I think I mentioned somewhat on the live stream, the last live stream, I had talked to her, and I was just so blown away by how good she is. And I was like, I bet she was like Ivy League educated. So then I looked it up and it was true. So basically what she does is she can take any type of text and then rearrange it and give advice on what to do. She also thoroughly understands the catalog, or Manning's catalogs, right? So Month of Lunches has a very specific way of talking to users. The In Action series is different. And so she understands their catalog and then helps us with that. We also have another tech editor, Mike Shepard, who is well known within the PowerShell community, and he ensures that the things that we say are accurate. If he doesn't understand something, he'll ask for clarification. He made some really great points for one of our earlier chapters. I think it was chapter 2. Check out how cool that is. So I'm gonna go to workdir. So chapter 2, nope, not that one. It must have been chapter 4. Let's see. Oh God, I don't know which chapter, but I'm gonna go back to the one I was working on. He had, with the installation of dbatools, I didn't realize a specific thing. I think I thought, and there must have been something that happened in the past where anytime I would do an install module, after that I couldn't find PowerShell wouldn't find the newly installed command. So let's say I did install dbatools, get DBA database wouldn't autocomplete until I imported the module again. And he's like, what? This, I just tried it on my own machine and it's not true. You can just get it. And so that's the kind of things that he does. He goes through and checks the PowerShell knowledge and stuff like that. So today, we have a Tuesday deadline, and I'm working with Rob. He already did a couple of his chapters, and now I am gonna look at FL, or Frances. I'm gonna look at her responses and then fix my book. So before I started live streaming, or had the idea to live stream, I was working on this, and so I've addressed a couple of the things. So the first thing is, lots of good info here, and I like how you started the chapter with an example scenario. I moved a bit of info around in the intro and see what you think. Midway through, the chapter starts to become just lists of features, and it's true, right? So she's talking about this down here. Like, look at this. This, I wasn't excited about writing, but I felt like it was important. And so as we're talking on Skype, she was like, say that. So these are also notes that I had in talking to her. So we're talking, and then like I hurry up and I jot them down as quickly as I can whenever I have questions and whenever she makes like great points and stuff. And so yesterday I was asking her about Try It Now. I didn't really understand where I should be putting it in the Month of Lunches series. Try It Now is very important. So anyway, like I was telling her with this one, I was like, this is a unique command because not every chapter is going to be focused on one command. But I think that this one is important. And it's important to go through each of these boring things. And she's like, say that, you know, like set people's expectations and say the rest of the book, you know, is going to whatever. But like for this, I want it to be in depth. And I was like, that's a great point. So you could see her responses, and this is something that we're all working through together so this is ASCII Doc FX. We're using ASCII Doc. We're using GitLab. This is new to her, I think. This is new to Mike. This is new to us. So the way that we basically respond to each other is in GitLab. So we have GitLab here. Rob and I are, you know, modifying things here. And so we talk both on here in the repo and within the document as well. So let's see what else. Let's see if we can get those into better teaching tools. By offering parameters, best practices, preferences. Remember, you can walk through a few of the most common scenarios and then say, here's a summary of the other types, which is true. Like instead of going through each and every one of those parameters, like I felt compelled to, but I was bored by it. I don't have to cover every single part. And for me as an author, like, she told me that there's generally two types of authors. One is the type that, just writes and writes and writes and writes and writes and writes. And their issue is that they need to make their stuff more concise. And then there's other, more constipated authors like me who it's in my brain, but I feel like if I go on too long that the reader will be bored. So for me, I do have to work at typing more than I'm used to. And so that's why, like, sometimes I don't mention a personal preference, even though that's what I want from a book. So I have to remind myself about that too. Let's see, one moment. All right. So all the diagrams, screenshots, tables need to be introduced before they appear. And the intro should include the figure number and statement about what it shows. So that's what I did this morning. I added in this entire paragraph, which is when DBAs, and this, I actually asked her, is it apostrophe S? And that is for another group of people who look at your grammar and stuff. So she is a content editor. She helps me with my content. Then we have the technical editor, and then we have the grammar people. So when DBAs are given an incomplete view of their estate, there's often a natural progression of tasks that look like figure 6.1. First, you have to find your undocumented servers, and then you can go on to the next step of inventorying your servers. And that's the next chapter here. I think that one's writing. Oh, wait, that was 7. So 7 is, so this is our inventory chapter. And this is basically how the book was built. That we do go through this finding and then inventorying and then backup and restore and so on. Okay, now I'm going through. And I need to make myself a list. So I'm gonna, once I'm done with everything, I need to check each image, I would say media, to ensure that it is introduced first. So great to start off with a relatable problem to establish the need for this lesson you'll be teaching. I moved up 2 short paragraphs from below because they continue to establish the need for this feature. The diagram seems a bit out of place and it needs an intro, which is right there. So previously I had said, after reading this chapter, you'll be able to find everything in your estate. And then she suggested that I should probably say in this chapter, we'll teach you how to. So this is just kind of still rough. You could see these are the changes that I've made today. So I do use, this is GitHub desktop. I use it with their GitLab. So that's whenever I said, let's see. In this chapter, we'll teach you how to find most, if not all, SQL Server instances on your network, and we'll accomplish this using a single command written by 3 well-known security professionals. Hello. Oh my God. You guys. Has it seriously not been on for like an hour or more? I will never use this thing again. I've been talking this whole time. Oh man, dude, talking this whole time. I mean, I think now you can hear me, but so sorry. No. Oh wait, I don't have to. Yeah, so well, no, let's see. That's unfortunate. And I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like maybe it actually could be a silent thread, but there were so many fun things that are interesting to me, at least, that I had talked about. Like one of the things that I want to highlight is FL, who's Francis. So there was this, you know, whenever you look at all of chapter 6 and how it, there's a lot of feedback in it, right? But she starts it out so positively that I had no idea that it was like the chapter just wasn't working, right? So lots of good info, and I like how you started the chapter. I've moved around a couple things. And so the way that she discusses the content is a similar way that to me as when I'm doing a pull request or, you know, or doing a code review. I do try to highlight the things that I appreciate so that the person is less defensive. And I realized that that's basically what she does. And I told the story about how the reason that it took so long for me to write a book was because back in 2002, I had written an article. I was very excited. I was just pretty much a kid at the time. And I'd written an article for SQL Server magazine, and granted, I had done some things wrong. I was talking about SQL injection, and the way that I handled it was not through parameterization, but it was more like some regex replacements, which is the wrong thing to do. But like, what I would have said if somebody would have given me that was, oh, you know, this is actually a really creative approach. But because our target audience is an enterprise, something that most enterprises do is they use parameterization. So that's something that I would like to see in this article, as opposed to, you know, like some regex replacements. But all I remember from that review was him literally in all caps, no, this is exactly what we don't want to do. And it was so harsh that even though it was kind of my dream to write for SQL Server magazine, I ended up retracting the thing. And so it's just been such a refreshing process working with Manning. Because they are super duper cool. So we have FL, that's Frances, she's my content developer. And then I have Mike Shepard, who's our technical editor. And then we have somebody who actually makes this prettier. And then we have another team who does, like, I don't know if it DBA's apostrophe S. I don't know if, you know, if that's like correct. And there's another team that'll help do that. And something else I'd also talked about was that I love having this stuff here, these like links and things like that. But in the book, they will not be underlined. Like that's what I asked for, at least. I'm primarily making it for the live book, which I had also shown earlier. So, if a person is reading from here, then they can just click there. And then whenever it comes to this, so generally I take her word as gospel. I try to be a student when writing because she knows best. Frances knows best about whenever it comes to Month of Lunch's content, right? And so she did say at some point, where was I? Right here. Month of Lunch's books generally don't have much background info because they're focused on things that the reader can apply. And so she's basically saying that I should get rid of the background. The reason that I included the background is because of the SQL Server community's reticence with PowerShell. What I want to do is introduce things that they're familiar with so that they can say, oh yeah, maps. I used that, 3 jobs ago, and this is just a command line maps. So this will be one of the rare instances where I'll kind of ask for her permission. It's not a lot of info, and I think it lends to the convo. And so I'm going to put that response. But I do like that you guys actually watch this even without any sound. That's super cool. And I'd actually considered that too. I'm going to pick nothing. Oh, there we go. Thank God. Okay. So OBS was tripping out this whole time, apparently. I've switched to the bows. Thank you so much. I've switched to the bows, and now these are kind of tinny, which is why I'd chosen that other one. But I kind of think that because it's a USB device, it messed up my hardware. You guys also missed out on well, I guess the CC the CC is gonna transcribe it. But I had also told the story about how I hate hardware, and I set a computer on fire at Comdex in Las Vegas, and that's now I just use stuff like Mac Minis. I plugged the floppy into the wrong part of the motherboard. There was this huge puff of smoke, and I thought that I was dying, and everyone around me thought that I was dying, and it was like the most intensely white smoke I had ever seen. It went right into my lungs. Um, yeah, I'm terrible with hardware. It's so boring and I just don't want to know it. But truth be told, I was the most likely candidate. It's just that because I was the Linux and Windows administrator, but I like software. I don't like hardware. I just want it to be simple. So I think that we're back, and I'm going to keep a better eye on the mixer. That sucked. And oh, so what I'm saying here is that I don't even know what you guys heard or not, but essentially I never push back, or I try not to. I try to take FL's word as gospel because she knows more about, like, while I know more about dbatools, she knows more about this writing process and about month of lunches. And so it's rare that I'll be like, but I really want to keep it. So, but this is one of those rare ones because of, as it says here, the reason being is the SQL Server communities reticence. I don't even know how to spell that word. Let's see. And then whenever I saw the word being, it reminded me. There we go. And we go back here and some paste. But it also reminded me about how when I was in college, so I grew up in Louisiana, and in Louisiana we speak, and I learned this later, Cajun English. And it didn't really translate all that well to California because I wrote a paper, and it started out with beings that, I don't know, the car was off colored, I don't know, or something like that. And my professor was like, beings, that is not a, it's not a phrase. And I'm like, that is absolutely a phrase. We say it every day. And that's whenever I learned, I also went to Circle K, and Circle K had, I was like, where's y'all boudin and, and cracklins, or gratons? And they were like, yeah, exactly. I was like, where's y'all gratons? And they're like, that doesn't exist. And I was like, okay, cracklins, where's your boudin? And they're like, nope. And it was just those like rolling wieners that they have at 7-Eleven or whatever. And I was just like, I can't believe that there's no boudin here. So that was a tough lesson to learn. And that, and my grammar, I'd be like, I stepped on a pecan. And people would be like, what? So, but reason being is totally valid anglais. And so I'm just going to use that. Reason being, the SQL Server community's initial reticence with PowerShell, I'd like to introduce familiar GUI equivalents. Oh God, no. Lens. And then my fingers aren't even working anymore. Okay, it didn't highlight, so I think I got it. If this is not a good enough reason, I will remove. Y'all's listen up, ball. Oh my God, there is, I found some video online. See, realcajunrecipes.com, which is my site / blog. Yeah, I might have to search for duck. All right, so if you do that and then you go down here, I have some old ass MP3s, some streaming MP3s, and this one cracks me up because it's this dude and this dude. So I went duck hunting. You can't really tell because this is how, this blog is from like 2001, so I didn't have any since whenever I was making these super small photos. So anyway, so it's Dennis and Danny, and they in the blinds, and I'll transcribe it real quick for y'all. You call any bruh? No. Nah. I could call a little bit. I can't call very good. I could call a little bit though. Yeah. Like if somebody ain't using none, then I'll just use their calls. This is ridiculous. So if you call Annie and listen to it, that's what I used to sound like. Because that's like the town that I grew up in. You call Annie bruh? No. I love that. I think I still say that sometimes, just walking around the house. I'll be like, "You calling me, bruh?" No, no, it's the best. It is. It is. I'll tell you what. I mean, I lived in California for like 11 years, and it cleaned up. Uh, it cleaned up my accent, and then I moved back to Louisiana, and I got it back. But I found these old things, these old like videos or whatever of me talking, and poo, my accent was so crazy thick. And I used to say, "Axe, hey, you axed your mama? I ain't axed a nothing." And but now, it's just a little bit. I got, a little bit more anglicized, Americanized. We Americans. There's this book called "The Americanization of a People." Okay, it's about the Cajuns, and it talks about how uh, our language evolved over time. So let's see. All right, so here's me rarely doing it. I would really like to keep that. So let me see if I conveyed what I want enough. I would like to ask for permission to include this, even though it is a little detailed. Reason being, the SQL Server community's initial reticence. This reason being is. Oh my God, if you guys were watching this without any sound, then you didn't know that I was sitting here saying, like, that sounds horrible, but I'm gonna go and uh, and make sure that it sounds good. Because even with comments, I make my first round of comments and then I go back and And then I even like make my comments a little bit better. Reason being is the SQL Server community's initial reticence with PowerShell. I'd like to introduce familiar GUI equivalents uh, um, so that they can see it and say, oh yeah, I've used, what was that? Apex SQL Discovery. So this is the command line equivalent. I get it. This is not a good enough reason. I will remove. Kitty, you outrageous. Kitty. Come here. I heard that like if you're on the phone with a cat in the room, um, the cats think that you're talking to them. So Kitty probably thinks that I'm talking to her, even though I'm talking to the internet. All right, let's see what you ask next. So when we use it when we start a job, you want to make sure what's there and what's being. Oh, I already fixed that. Okay. I'm just surrounded by cats. So this is one of the things. Nope. I should probably. Nope. With what consequence? I.e., why are you telling us this? In the command below, no discovery will be performed while all scans will be performed. This means that. And then now I have to look at it and I have to see what does it mean because I don't know. Uh, I think that one of the reasons that it's not clear is because we use the terms discovery and scan oddly. Um, that's a really good point. Sorry about the background noise. Whenever I was like desperate to fix my audio, I removed all of my filters that reduce it. So I'm gonna have to go and find that again. You calling me, bruh? No. Nah. I have to figure out what discovery is. I have a very terrible memory, and so I wrote all of this, but I don't remember what discovery is. Discovery is finding stuff. Oh, that's why. Okay. But is it important? Is also what she's asking. What is the consequence? It's just clarifying. But why? Does it need to? It's true. That's completely useless information. I wouldn't care if I was the reader. Uh, the scan, maybe I'll just tell them why I picked that one. In this case, no discovery is required because the computer probe, has been explicitly given. No scan type was specified, so the default scan types will be performed. That's useful. Um, that's what I was doing. I was providing it as an intro, but I cut it up again because we're not supposed to stack. And this tip was right on top of this. So I just kind of like divided it. Um, so now it makes more sense. And what I need to do is say, let's see. Now it's time to find your SQL Server instances. Find DBA instance performs two primary tasks, discovery and scan. Discovery finds the computers that the command will scan, and scan, capital S, actually probes. That's useful and simple. Let me know if y'all could hear Kitty chirping, because if you can, I'll just put her outside. Because she just unplugged my fan, and now it's going to get hot in here. All right, in the command below, no discovery. Let's see. Alrighty. The first. Oh, thank you. Okay. Come on, baby. All right, so find an instance. Now it's time to find your instance. And then first we will find all of the SQL Server instances installed on your computer. We're expecting two to show up. I'm gonna say X because we didn't write chapter 3, which is the actual part. We're expecting X, at least X instances to show up because I don't know, they've been. If you followed along. Okay, she also said that we won't know if this is interesting, I think, to me at least. She also said that you can't say like in the command above or in the command below because you have no idea where it's going to land on a page whenever it goes to print. So I also have to remove that. Yes, exactly. So you have to give the reference by figure number. So I'm trying to decide if I'm even going to, let's see, like in this case isn't very clear. So I do have to look to the side and see, oh, that's listing 6.2. I don't even know how to introduce it. Instead, in this case is yuck. good tip too. I'm totally like a goldfish reading this. It's like for the first time, even though I was the one who wrote it. When just computer name is specified, no, well, let's see. When specifying computer name, no discovery, haha, is required because the computer to probe localhost has been explicitly given. Here we go. Hey! Hey, what's up? Xantooth the Greats. Thank you for joining. Dude, I was actually showing people around, but then it turned out that I don't know how long my audio wasn't working, but I added a whole bunch of extras this weekend, and I'll show it to you after I'm done with this real quick. Let's see. So the command in, check it out, listing 6.2. We'll attempt to. All right, so I'm gonna commit this real quick. So here's the changes that I've made in like an hour. And I know that you guys are probably like, well, yeah, but you showed us around and you talked through it, but this is how slow it is, even whenever I'm not on the live stream. And then this is when I say cup dates. All right, so check this out. I love this little project right now. First of all, let's go look at the issues that I've closed so that I could remember. Okay, bits error, fix that. Is it supposed to find on-demand hot fixes? What was going on with that? Oh, so this was interesting. Instead of it just saying no results found, now it says, like, if it's just been removed from the catalog, it says results were found but removed from the catalog. So that was cool. Search is cool, and I'm gonna show you that pretty soon. Let's see, error when downloading multiple KB items. I had introduced that bug. Oh, I've made it a whole thing, so check this out. GitHub, KB update. And so now it's a thing. It has some tests that it runs. Tests, integration, because I love integration tests. So it actually goes out to Microsoft. What was really cool is that there was a dude from Reddit, and he was like, hey, I could help with the regex. And then I added some tests and I made it super duper detailed. And so he was able to see as he was going along, he would uh, add in his changes, and then I saw his commits, and it made me laugh. It was like, just one more time. Oh, this one, gotta fix that. Oh, damn. Um, but yeah, so I've added in some pretty intense tests, and yeah, we do like superseded by. We already have 3 contributors and one more on the way, with Jess Pomfret doing install KB update using DSC, which I'm super pumped about. Um, oh, it also has latest, right? So if you give it a batch and you do dash latest, it'll check all the supersedes by, and it'll just grab the most recent one that you need. And then we have save. If you pass in computer name, I also added a whole bunch of stuff. Let me open up this. So let's see what we can search KB. So you could search it by architecture, so x86, x64, operating system, product, which is SharePoint, SQL Server, etc., language, and so on. And so what it'll do, if you pass it computer name, it goes and it grabs the architecture and the operating system. And I would like to add language, but it's been really hard determining what the language is. So, because Microsoft, there's been so much inconsistency, it drives me crazy. I cannot rely on their catalog because you'll have some things that say the language is English and then there's some Japanese there. That's a PSM one. So let's see what we've added. I've added auto completing. So if you do get KB update and then you say product, you could just like tab all the way through. What up? I got this from kbupdate.info. I use some PowerShell probably, yeah, to get all of the results. So you could tab through that if you want, or you could just do like product SharePoint and it should find it like that. Yeah. So we have autocomplete for architecture. What I did do, whenever you use this, so I use something called PS Framework by Fred Weinman, and it's PSF. So this will add in the autocomplete, but it doesn't restrict it, right? So people can tab through it, but they can also say like arms plural, and it won't be, like sometimes PowerShell freaks out. The other thing with the operating system, so if you do get KB update dash operating system, which is actually just a product, but whatever. So you can tab through all of that as well. And supposedly, like, this is stuff that's included there. So let's see if we get anything. Oh, the pattern. Windows. Oh, I added caching. So the caching is awesome. Once you've searched one time, it does like this initial thing to get all the GUIDs, and then it looks in the, oh, it'll find 25. So this will take a little second. If I did dash simple, it would be faster. But so I did add in this so that people know what's going on in the background. And it had right now for each and every one of these, it's parsing 3 or 4 web pages because their catalog is inaccessible. What up? All right. They added a scripting class after I graduated from my from my program, so I've only been learning it for a few months after I found oh yeah. Dude, I love it, and it's a really good with scripting. I really like that saying, like the best way to learn it is to do your job with it. And so that Win10 debloater is a really great practical application of it instead of like just hello world, as is this KB updater too. If you want to look at the source code, if you have any questions, you can message me. Part of my job is reading patch notes. Oh my God, we actually have that now. So, I will die. Why wasn't there output while I'm on here? Okay, pattern, Windows. Fuck. Where's my patterns? What the? Oh, okay. So I think that it's because. Oh, I did operating system. Wait, why is it? Oh, okay. I think that it's because it does post. Here's the problem. So it does post filtering because Microsoft doesn't give you a way to actually filter. I could probably send in that with the, and that's something that I might do. Like if it didn't return any results, then put it into the search itself. But basically, what happened was hopefully it'll find the same ones over again. All right, so there's the caching. But what you'll notice is, so select product, none of the products are, oops, supported products. Supported products. None of the supported products are SBS server. Because again, it's that post stuff. But so yeah, added in, I really like that. I'm gonna be adding in some, I know, I tried. What I wanted to do was I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I'm going to take their pattern, their search pattern, and then their other stuff, and I'm going to put it into the searcher. But then whenever you do, the results are even worse sometimes. So I had to like back out of it. So let's even look. Okay, what happens when you do this? If we go here to www.catalog, ridiculous, this glowing monstrosity. All right, so that's for small. So that is good. Let's see, and I typed in Windows and it did return. So maybe, well, I mean, I could get these results like this, but what I would like, you know what, maybe what I'll do, I don't know. I don't know how to solve this because check it out. If we get the pattern like this, I'll get those same results that we just saw. And then we see these supported products. The problem with that, the other way that I did it was that my pattern was just generic Windows, and then the output was like getting XP stuff and getting whatever. And so I'm not really sure how to solve that, but this project is so fun. I ain't gonna lie, I love some parsing. And like adding stuff like caching, and then you immediately see how much faster it is. Because I was dreading, even testing. I'm like, oh, every single KB takes like, 2 seconds. But now I don't have to worry because it just caches it, so I grab it. So check it out. It does have to go back, and because their stuff is random, sometimes it'll get new ones. But yeah, it's been a challenge working with this website. But we had somebody who came in and check out superseded by select expand property superseded by. Give us something better than NA. No. There we go. So right here it has, oh, you know what? That's interesting. We'll have to actually put, instead of NA, I'm going to do a detection and I'm just going to give it null. That way the output is, because otherwise it's not doing KBNA, I don't think. I think that it's just outputting that way poorly. So let me go add it real quick. New issue. Superseded by. If you have any interest in making that modification as a way to learn, I could do a code review. And you could also make it, and then you could do like fixes, whatever the number is, and we could work together on that. Superseded by needs to be null when in a. I think it's in/a. Yep. All right. Return one. Actually, not null. It just needs. Yeah, it needs to not return anything. Result. Well, the result should be null. Whatever. Okay. And I got this by doing this. What was really cool is that I used this. So this was put in by this guy named Andrew. I used this to do the superseded by. So it gets the KB and then it does within search. So I created search.kb, which just, this one was so tough and it just melted my mind. So yeah, the language can't be trusted. If you do like this, if you select title, language. Come on. Oh man, what if it's like supported language? What's it called? No, it's language. Oh yeah, so we have, all in English, but then English gives way too much. So what I do is I have to do some regex to check here. And then sometimes the language is listed like in the link. Okay, so it'll say all, and then it's true. But like you wanted English, so you can't trust. You're like, oh, well, all includes English, but then you download every single one of the links. So for here, what I do is I have to detect if the language is in the, if it's in the link. But then their languages in the link, it could change between ENU or just EN. So whenever I came up with, what is it? not build, not tests. I don't know if I put the library languages. So I had to like guess these are the languages. ENU is in here. EN is not. So that still needs some work as well. What I might do is create, um, the language and then like short code, long code, and maybe that can make the language detection more accurate. So the architecture. Yeah, sometimes the architecture says all, but then the title will have x86. So their architecture is not adequate. And that's why I had to build like this entire command because you just can't trust it. Exactly, exactly. So what it does is it filters out the language of the file. And, if a file doesn't match any of the languages, so that's one of the things that I did. If it doesn't match any language at all, then it is then it's not language specific. But if it does, if it's like -NL, then don't include that. So I mean, this was really, it made my brain hurt. And then I actually don't know if this other thing that I'm doing is the best way to do it. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody who knows more about the pipeline than I do. But I had to put everything in the last one so that I could do the comparison. So we have all the KBs, all the other KBs, and then see where the ID, or the supersedes.kb not contains that. So that's how I did latest. With latest, it will delay output to the screen because it has to get the collection first before it can determine what's the latest. I don't know if I want to do something like more useful. Let me see. Get KB update pattern. I wonder if this will work. SQL 2016 SP1. What up? And then we could do latest and see how much comes back. Out variable a dot count. All right, and then there's 6. So let's see how much. I don't even know if this has anything that supersedes anything, but I do have a supersedes test in our integration testing. Measure object 3. So you can see here that you don't even need all 6 that match SP1 or SQL 2016 SP1. You just need 3 of them. And then you can see here, check it out. There's Japan. So let me see latest. I've never tried using latest and language together. So let's see what we get out of this. Boom! It worked. It worked. So you saw before that last one had all of the commands, right? Or sorry, all of the files. Oh, hey, that's interesting. So this is a bug because what it did was it changed my object permanently in the cache instead of, all right, so give me a second. So I need my cache to be a bit more resilient instead of being filtered. So new issue. Cache is a little too aggressive with link changes. So I'll probably just have to do like a PS object.copy. Maybe, I don't know, and then display that instead. All right, so boo. And then now it's just cached. You know how I could uncache it? I could reload all of my modules, including that one. And then we could watch it happen again. JK, let's go see the other stuff that I've done. Yesterday was a blast. Issues. Let's see. Issues. No pull requests, maybe. I don't remember what we were looking at. Okay. That was my reorg. Added some caching. Added simple. I don't know if you have seen this before, but if you do simple, it's way faster, and simple is really good whenever using whenever you're just downloading stuff. So if you do like and then you pipe to save, and then that way it just takes a lot less time. And then this one would also work with Japanese. But then it's gonna just, but that is pretty cool that it noticed all of these other ones did not, they were not language specific, but this one is. So that was a lot to work out. That was fun. Let's see what else. Oh, I also changed it. It used to say name, and I changed it to pattern because it's not really the name, because I wanted it to just be like a search term. But because I'd already put it out on Reddit, and you know, it already had some users, I didn't want to break it for them. So I put in that alias of name. There's some autocompletes. Latest paging. I tried to add paging and it just didn't work. Hey, what's up? Thank you, Dookie Pickercher. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh yeah, so this was 18 hours ago, which is probably like, I don't know, 2 a.m. I was trying to get to bed, and so I added it. Actually, I ended up adding in the stuff. Let's go look at the other pull requests. Some language updates. That's whenever I changed it. So because, you know, E and U or whatever, I had to go back. Oh no, this was adding more specific stuff. And see, this is a different way that you could do it. Like Dutch, um, Dutch people may notice that it says Netherlands there instead. And then I added my little integration tests to make sure that that works, because it's an example, so it should. So I think that's all that we've got. And I'm really excited. If we check out the issues, I'm excited about install kbupdate. Um, with that, so it turns out that installing patches remotely is a beast. And what a lot of people are doing, they're either using psexec, or they are, what are they doing? They create a temporary scheduled task to do the execution, and then it deletes itself. And what we are going to use instead is DSC, which is desired state configuration. To me, DSC is a hard concept to understand, but we are going to use it in a way that I like it, because so this it's this other developer, Jess Pomfret, actually learned. I'd always heard about DSC and I wanted to know more, and I was like, but how does it apply to me as a SQL Server person? And she did such a great job at Data Grillen in Germany. I went and I watched one of her presentations, and I finally got it. And so I asked her if she would be willing to do this with DSC, because a buddy of mine messaged and was like, hey, the SQL, you know, the PS exec thing might be of concern because you have to copy it to the other machine. DSC, that's what it's built for. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. But I thought that DSC required a push and pull server. And it turns out that it doesn't. So Jess is working on the install KB update, and I assume that we could do the uninstall as well. And then what I'm interested in, so we have like, there's a product that a lot of people use called Tenable. It is an open source product, and there's something about, I don't really know what ACAS and how it relates to Tenable. Maybe it's a plugin. Tenable makes a lot of money because like their architecture is free and open source, but then I think the plugins and the management costs, I don't know. Anyway, but it's a vulnerability scanner, so it can log into a server and say, oh my God, like you really needed this patch because it's really bad exploit. Um, and I'm trying to do a lightweight mix of get hotfix and maybe something from like the Microsoft Resource Center or Response Center. MSRC, my understanding, is Microsoft's like security center. And so if they have uh, some sort of API that we could like log into a server, we could say, oh, this is x86. It has these patches. Or sorry, x64. It has these patches and it's Windows 2019. Which does it need? Like which critical ones? And that would be awesome. And that would be, and then you could just pipe that into the downloader in the event that it's missing. Why would it be missing? Does this replace WSUS or WSUS? No, it does not. Why do some machines have missing patches? I don't know. I do know that it's common for both SCCM and WSUS to miss patches. And so this is kind of that stopgap solution. And it's just fun in general to play with. With this, I even want to throw in SQL Server. So actually, check this out. I have another module that I work on called dbatools, and let's see, dba kbupdate. I don't even remember how to use this. So let me see. It's not as powerful as the other one. Let's see, examples. All right, so oh, I know what this does. So this is cool. For SQL Server professionals, you'll notice, hopefully, yes. So what you see here is we have extra columns. And the column is like, let's see. So we have name level, that's SQL Server 2016, SP level, SP1, KB level, CE level, build level, supported until. So these are SQL Server specific, and what get DBA KB update does is it interacts with this JSON file that we have. So the JSON file is pretty cool. People keep it updated, and we use it for you could do get DBA build reference SQL instance. You could do like this. So this gives you the information. And what that did was it logged into the SQL server and it got some basic stuff, and then it referenced the file that we have locally that's downloaded each time you download dbatools. And then it's also used for our build. I don't know if it's built. Yeah. So let me undo this. So this is super cool because you could do search like SQL Server, SQL Server, what, damn it, 2008. All right, so, you could just do like, oh, I need to know stuff about like this. So it's a JSON file with a whole bunch of JavaScript. And then you could also not search, and you could just do like 2017 service packs. CUs, latest SP. So there's no SP yet for SQL 2017. Latest CU. And then, yeah. So this is like so fast, so cool. And we just use it all the time. And I integrated it with the build reference. And that was super fun. It crossed my mind to live stream my work yesterday, but it was so tedious that I decided not to because it hurt my brain. Because there were just so many caveats, and I might be missing one. Let me look for the architecture. Yeah, I think that I might be missing. If it's -RT, then the architecture lies. It's actually x86 that bit me the other day, and so I need to add it. Let me see if I have any matches. Yeah, I need to. I just had it as a bunch of comments to myself. Okay, and I need to do this. I don't remember if I added this or not. So it'll say architecture. So yeah, I do graphic design stuff for the gaming org. Oh, that's so cool that you're a part of a gaming organization. Part of, but it's kind of boring to watch as opposed to my gaming stuff. It's actually pretty shocking. Like, well, I've been surprised at the stuff that I've been interested in and the things that like I'm very, very shocked that somebody that people were watching me edit this book in silence, which I think is so fascinating. Um, and I also wonder like because I was doing like this, maybe they thought uh, that I wanted them just to see visually because I don't have my video in today. I was having so many problems. I was dropping like super packets. Um, but usually, I think let's see, no, I think that graphic design that is a primarily what I follow. Um, oh, nice. Totally. I have the same thing too. Um, it's so easy because I was actually listening to Lil Peep as I was doing the other stuff, but then sometimes it just like stresses me out, and you put on some lo-fi chill, and it's so much better. But the thing about graphic design for me as a programmer is I have no idea how it works, and so a lot of times, that's cool. Yeah, that's yeah, chilled cow, lo-fi hip hop beats. Um, but yeah, I watch a lot of sprite makers, and I think it'd be super fun to be into sprite making, but I'm not. So let's see. Oh no, I'm only at a third, and it's just been hours. Yeah, like how I got all pumped to show you KB update because working on the book is tough, and it comes with a lot more judgment than working on like KB update. Like for me, the whenever you talk yourself through a problem, whenever I'm talking myself through a problem with KB update, I'm like, you can do it. And with a book, I'm like, oh, this is not conveying what you want it to convey. It like, I don't know, it's so much harder. Um, and I'm like, hey, why don't you go make a cup of coffee? And I'll find pretty much anything else to do because it is just, it's hard. It's far harder than like blogging. It's true. It is really nice. Yeah, I read something out loud earlier, and I was like, that doesn't even. I actually couldn't even like complete the sentence. Hey, thank you so much. Lemon Rage, Demon Rage. Oh my God. Sorry. It was covering up the D and or the end of the whatever, and so it looked like Lemon Rage. I kind of like Lemon Rage. Um, yeah, I I read it and then I was like, I can't even finish the sentence as I'm speaking it, and so obviously it needs a rewrite. Let's see. So, why am I telling you this? I think that I've addressed it up here, changed it all up. Let me tell my editor, CL, changed it up, removed the, removed the sentence. So we've already talked about discovery. Have we done it in depth enough for them to understand what discovery is? Maybe I need to move up my definitions. All right. Your readers know what scan type and do your definition should appear as close as possible to the first time you use the phrase. It's true. I don't know why I waited, but I waited a long time. Okay. Oh, hey, what up, Adelio? You just missed some sweet PowerShell action. I was showing everybody KB update. Added a whole bunch of stuff. I love it. Have you given us as much info as possible to help us make the decision on our own? When you describe each type, can you give some sample situation? Just so you know, Adelia, like half of it is my mic was off. I didn't even realize till later. Because I was actually, you know what? I had wondered, but I figured that like a lot of times whenever I'm listening in, I zone out, and I figured that's what had happened. So I was like, hey, everybody in the crowd, can you uh like what was your idea of someone writing a tech book? Because whenever I thought of like growing up, and I was reading Louise Davidson's database design or Robert Vieira's SQL Server 2000 beginning or professional or whatever, those rocks books, um I guess I kind of romanticized the writing, and I thought, of a person with like a redwood desk in one of those offices that, yeah, right. And yeah, he's probably smoking a pipe and writing his book on a, well, at the time, I guess I don't even think that I thought through the writing utility, because he wouldn't have written it with a typewriter. And then I'll start doing it. I'm like, whew, this is not glamorous. And then I was like, maybe it was still glamorous back in the day. Yes, yes. A little cup of coffee, like probably brings a bagel with him. Sometimes he kicks back in his chair and he throws his feet up and he's like, wonder how I could best describe these indexes. And then it turns out, like, I just want to know how other people are doing it too. So hopefully other authors. I was saying, with whenever the input capture was completely off, it was just broken. Um, and then I put in the second one. I don't know. I think OBS was messing up. But I was saying that there's this dude Randolph, and Randolph, uh, he writes like 1,000 pages. Sorry, 1,000 words an hour. And my editor told me that there's some people that will write a whole lot, and then what their issue is that, I know, right? Like, I think he said 1,000 in an hour. Um, and she said that there are some people who write, and they write a lot, and then their issue is that they have to be more concise. And then there's the opposite person, which is me, right? Like, I am constipated in my writing. I I always think, oh, well, if I go into like detail, then I'm gonna bore people. And so I don't, I find myself, it's like pulling teeth to get me to write thoroughly, because, yeah, right? So it turns out that it's pretty much just, one or the other. Trying to finish your, see, like I wanted to write for the PS Comp book too, but I knew that it's so much work, and I wouldn't have time with this book plus that one. But hopefully next year I'll be able to contribute and have the time, because it's tough. There was also something else too. I told her I was really happy that we're a little bit delayed, because I can sit and like read, not this chapter, but I can read my book over and over and over again and be like, oh no, let me like put this here. Oh, and I'm just thinking to myself, I think that it would take 3 years to write my favorite book. And she's like, Chrissy, it will never be done in your head. And that kind of freed me up to not obsess over it. So it's really nice talking to her. Not only, whenever I say her, it's the content developer. So it's a person who doesn't know anything about SQL Server or dbatools, but she knows a lot about writing, and about like content and technical content and what it should look like. And it's been like just such a comfort talking to her because I have a lot of the same problems as other people. And, yeah, it is. It's yeah, just writing this I'm sitting here and like I usually don't fidget and I'm just like fidgeting with this thing that's in my hand because writing is stress inducing. So I'm gonna go back and try to write. Let's see. I did much better with the other chapter. Like, chapter 2 is like my favorite chapter ever. It's pretty. It's a chapter 2. Look, oh, it's gorgeous. What? That's informational. Lots of info. And oh, something I'm going to do because I'm a perfectionist. At the end, whenever we're about to go to publication, then I'm going to replace all of the screenshots from like, because me and Rob have some different screenshots. We haven't done that. We don't know what we're going to do about the lab environment. Yeah, he has some, I'm trying to see. There's some, yeah, like this is very Rob. And what I want to do is have like a uniform Azure machine where I retake like all of the screenshots because the one in mine in chapter 2 is taken years ago, and I don't even know if it says the same things anymore. So let's go back to chapter 6. Me too. Yeah, she was like, that was something that was really interesting too. That two things really stick out to me that Francis said whenever I'm writing, which is that printing, interesting. Um, I guess that makes sense, especially with all the colors and stuff. Uh, oh, I totally forgot what I was saying. And I'm totally not writing my chapter, which I should, but it's hard. So let me fidget a little bit more and see. Oh, that's why. All right, so here's the problem that I'm concerned about. So she makes a great point about transitioning. I'm terrible at transitions, conclusions. So I'm concerned that if I say this, if I move this, what am I going to say right here, right? But I have to. She is right. I need to move that somewhere else. So let me go and define it. There's so much procrastination, even in the way that I evaluate the chapter. I'm like, I'll just take my time getting to where I'm supposed to go. All right, now it's time to find your SQL Server instances. It provides two primary tasks, discovery and scan. Discovery finds the computers and scan actually probes the server, the instance, but that's not enough. So what we need to do, okay, and then I'm bummed. And I have to go. So I just used this. So I have to kind of reword it, right? I'm gonna have to paraphrase it. But she did tell me that it's a great thing to repeat yourself. And I was always worried about that. But I find value whenever people repeat. So I'm just gonna have to figure out a different way to write this. And what I also need to do is copy the scan type. And I really like what she said, like, So one of the reasons this chapter is so problematic is because, like, look at it. It's it's just not. It feels like TMI. Yes, that is true. And people like patterns. I should actually repeat it back for the YouTube audience because if you'll notice on this screen, it doesn't even have the chats. What I was thinking of doing was just like recording a Twitter playback with the chats on the right and uh, and then just uploading that to YouTube. I tried to keep the pattern here, which is that, each little thing goes in depth, but it's fucking just bums me out. I was happy that this one was done, but I should be happy with the content instead of just the fact that it was over. So I think that she's making some really good points. See, look how cool this is. Like, she probably doesn't know too much about Mac and Linux, but she knows that I said that they're not supported. And she's like, okay, so then what do they do with them? And yeah, I really, really, really enjoy this content editing part. Once you've got your collection, where the hell is this? Once you've got, there we go, there it is. Okay. Fuck. I don't ever define scan types. So what I'm gonna do is go to dbatools and look to see how we defined it. Oops. I'm using the cold snacks theme. It's the best theme. All right, so what am I doing? I am looking for find DBA instance. I guess I could have done this a different way, but I didn't. All right. This isn't going to be very useful. Oh, it is. Thank you, Fred. Okay. Probably Fred. I don't know. I'd have to look at the blame. This looks Freddy though. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the FAQ. I'm going to paste in the definition and then I'm going to understand it, right? Because just now I kind of glossed over it. And then I'm going to rewrite it to the way that I understood it. Need to go back to the area to define it. So, like Adelio said, people like patterns, and what I would like to do is kind of pattern what I'm going to say off of the way that I said discovery types. So I'm going to start out with scan types. I don't know if maybe I'll say on the other hand. On the other hand, that sounds stupid. I don't know. Like, I'm just like throwing it out there. Like, the worker horse is the worker horse. Scan types are the worker horses. Scan types are the individual methods used to retrieve information about the scan computer in any potentially installed instances. See, that could be a lot clearer because it feels like a lot of just like technical words, but it's not human words. let's try to put this into some human words, but not worker horses. That's just like my placeholder in my brain. Or the methods. I will go with that. That uh, actually help determine if a SQL Server component has been installed. Not help determine, but actually determine. Are the scan types are the methods that actually determine if a SQL Server component has been installed. I'm going to take this out. Ha, check it out. Once you've collected, because a lot of people have issues. Yeah, thank you, Adelio. Um, I that determine. So I want to put some emphasis on, and I think that you're right. I'm going to revisit that. Once you've collected, once you have your collection, you have your uh, collection of computers. Once you've created, I already said it's time up there, but I'm going to do it's time to perform your scans. It's time to, like, I don't know, like summon your scan types. It's time to perform the actual scan. Um, there are a variety of scan types. How's that? Available. These are scans determine. Ah, there we go. How's that? No, I really appreciate it. I So for those of you on YouTube, Adilio said you might not need actually. And then he was also suggesting once you've assembled, it's on a different screen. And so it took me a second to actually look over that because I didn't want to look over and then forget where I was at. Let's see. So let's see where once you've assembled. Let's see. My only concern with assembled is that it's kind of big. It's a kind of a big word. I think that created is um, simpler. So once you've created your collection, once you've assembled, yeah, I think that created will be what I go with. So once you've, but please do keep it coming. I appreciate it. Once you've created your collection, the collection, once you've created, I don't know, something like that. Collection of computers. It's actually been really fun, or an interesting journey with dbatools. We've had to, like, even writing our documentation or checking for strings, a lot of things are assumed English. And in writing the blog posts, I pass it by Claudio, and Claudio, English is like his, at least his second language. And so there's a lot of times where he's like, I don't understand this. You're using what's the word whenever it's like not a cliche. It's a type of not an antonym. Uh, man, I can't even think of one right now, but I love using it, and it's a very uh, English specific or language specific. And he'll even message me and he'll be like, do you understand this phrase that I'm saying, like cat in the hat? I don't know, something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, we totally have that in America. And so metaphors, turn a phrase. No, it's not simile. It's when hold on. I'm gonna go find it out. Give me a second because it's killing me. And I get to procrastinate. It was an idiom. I still feel like that's not the word, but it is. Let's look up idioms. She said, like, let's call a spade a spade. A group of words established by usage of having meaning not deducible. Yep, that's it. It's totally an idiom. So yeah, I use idioms a lot, and so working with Claudio, I was able to recognize that, and I've really enjoyed the localization of that. Because I remember whenever I was programming at first, I was like, oh man, localization, that shit's hard. Uh, and I never thought that it would impact me, and then it has. So once you've created the collection of computers, ugh, I don't like that either. Once you have, but it is. It's not just gathered, although gathered is better. Um, it's the whole. The idea is right, but the something's wrong. Let me see. Discovery types are different ways to create a collection of computers that will be probed. One, more, or all can be specified. Multiple, one or more. That doesn't matter. Does that even matter? No. Nope, it doesn't matter. Discovery types are different ways to create a collection of computers that will be probed. Once you've created this collection, see, there's create, so I think that it is. Once you've created this collection using the discovery type, you can use this collection of computers. You can then scan this collection of computers. Computers. You can then scan this collection of computers using various scan types. Scan types. Scan types. Different scan types. Let's see. Let's try this. I know that employ is too big, but sometimes I'm like, maybe not. Different methods. Remember, he used methods down there. Different methods, so it's still accurate. Different scan types employ different methods to determine if a SQL Server component has been installed. It's very rigid language. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the phrasing gathered and assembled makes it sound like you have multiple files or data sets or files. Let's see. So, yeah, I think that this is a more natural way to say it. So discovery types are different ways to create the collection of computers that will be probed. I'll say servers because I think that I just like, because usually, I mean, people, I think that they'll know. You could do a workstation, but so different types are different, discovery types are different ways to create the collection of servers that will be probed. You can then scan this collection of computers using various scan types. Different scan types employ different methods to determine. So this is a completely wrong thing, and that means that I basically have to put it down there and then rewrite it. I might have to put the end at the beginning. Determining that a SQL Server component has been installed. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this feels. It's fucking tedious. I mean, like, I'm stuck on 2 sentences, and meanwhile, Randolph is like 1,000 words. And these sentences hurt my brain. Let me drink some more caffeine. Discovery types are different ways to create the collection. Help. You know what? Are different ways or help? Discovery types help. Nope, it's true. There are different ways. I actually had one of my classmates, it was my final class for a master's, and it was so hard. And I felt terrible because one of my classmates, he just like, first of all, it was a group project, which is always horrible. But we'd all like get our own assignments, and uh, one of my classmates, he just, if like 60 pages were due, he had 40. And I felt bad because like he wrote this 40 overnight, and meanwhile I deliver like 1 page a day. And we ended up both passing. And so it's interesting how both of that works. But yeah, Randolph and my classmate would not be staring at these 2 sentences. So, there's no like cigar here with like birds chirping. Like, how does J.K. Rowling do it? Man, she should live stream her writing. That would be awesome. Because I have no idea. Kitty, if you keep it up, I'll have to kick you out again. Also true. Uh, or the different ways. Discovery types are the ways Oh God. Discovery types are the ways. Okay. No. She still sits and writes. But, she probably does have a team of editors, but whenever you write, you should have one. A kitty. Come here. Kitty likes to chirp. I am horrified by this, and I'm going to give about 2 more minutes, and then I'm going to move on. Start at 8:39 p.m. How is that even possible? Discovery types are different ways to create the collection of servers that will be probed. You can then scan this collection of computers using various scan types. I am going to underline these again and hope that they help set in. And it's cool. We actually have a person for this. That'll be like, oh, that shouldn't be underlined. Determining that a SQL Server component has been installed is accomplished using various scan types. Man, that's just terrible, but whatever. Okay. No. 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 Okay. No. Yeah. See, that's the difference between like, this is good documentation, right? But it's not like good book material. So it's interesting to see the differences between the two. I'm just trying to like clean it up just a little so that we could see, like, this is, a parameter is optional. By default, all scans except for establishing an actual SQL connection are performed. Scans could be specified in any arbitrary combination. And while this is a valid way, this is also interesting too. It's a valid way of writing, but this audience is uh, for our users. This makes me think about how a lot of times whenever I was creating the documentation for dbatools, what I wanted to and what I looked to do, like I wanted to replicate Microsoft, and I would look at their documentation to see this, and it's very, very similar to this, very formal. And it reminds me of how, we all change our resumes over time. Like I know I used to be like administered, con- concise number of servers within the realm of my domain. I don't know, something like that, right? And then, but now I read some tips and actually sent my resume to this person. I paid like $100 and they rewrote my resume, and they're like, talk like you would to another human. And so I changed my resume that way. And honestly, I haven't really seen an impact one way or the other. Um, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. I think as long as the resume isn't bad, the style is is whatever you want it to be. If you like formal, then you could do formal. So let me remove this. This is hard as hell to write. Yeah, totally. It's kind of like we got spoiled by our teachers with the styles that emphasize creative writing. I wish, like, at least for us, I remember, like growing up in the 90s with computers and stuff, everything was so formal, like Big Blue and all of that. And um and I really had looked up to it at the time, but it's so interesting because the authors that I really liked were the ones who could talk to me like a person. And anytime that I would review, like on Amazon or whatever, it would always be like, man, it's just like it's such a casual thing. And then here I am. Tech writing can be creative and have your own style too. It's true. Um, it's weird that like whenever it first comes out in my brain, it's very journalistic. And but it's not but journalistic isn't the way that I learn, so I'm just like, stop it, brain, give me some creative style. But it's so crazy that I'm still just staring at, and I've this is one of the most unsatisfying. What I might end up doing is asking Rob to to look at this sentence and and just help me. Thank you so much. I would love to see other people do it too. Aw, Adelia, you're the best. I love having you in the community because you're always so supportive. And like every time that I see one of your tweets, I know it's gonna make my day better. And there's a lot of things on Twitter, that can bring people down, which reminds me, uh, oops, dang. Let's see. Go to potato quality. If you go here to Twitter, so if you go to github.com/potato quality with two E's at the end, I have this Twitter mental health mute list. So it's just like any political thing. There's like some triggering words in there. Usually I update it anytime. I mean, it's very America centric, but so is my Twitter feed. And anytime that there's a new controversy, then there's a lot of things that pop up in our Twitter, and uh, and I just don't want to see it. There are some things that I do want to see, like I usually don't block out anything by AOC, but that's just me. But sometimes maybe I should because like, it just drives me crazy. But uh, and people made the point that I think is ridiculous, which is, you have to stay in touch. Well, not if it's at the expense of my mental health. Like me being even more depressed when I battle with major depressive disorder and anxiety doesn't help anyone in the world. Also, by blocking it on Twitter, doesn't mean that you block it everywhere else, right? If I want to go to CNN, I could go to CNN. Um, and I get, my news from anywhere else. Whenever I go to Twitter, I want to see a Delio fucking telling everybody that they're awesome. I love it. I love his logos. I love all of his PowerShell stuff. I love everybody like coming together and being a really awesome, fun community team with a lot of support. And that's what I want. And so that's why I have the mental health mute list that blocks things on the left and on the right. And it just takes, and then you can add your own or whatever. So yeah, you could just copy paste, and it's unfortunately, Twitter probably does this on purpose. You have to copy paste these, and then look, somebody else added their own stuff too. But you do have to do each and every single one of them. Um, just copy paste. But I find it completely worth it because whenever I go to Twitter, my Twitter is generally a pretty um, uh, positivity reinforcing kind of place. And so this is something that's super cool. You can now sponsor me. Thank you so much for the follow. Let's see. What up? Clone style. I like that. So if you go to, man, where is it at? Where is it at? Let's see. Netnerds.net. So I'll go there. Um, this is something that I cannot wait until it is pervasive. So you have these GitHub sponsorships, which are really awesome. So you could sponsor me on GitHub. And so this is, like I talk about how $3 a month, $5 a month, $8 a month. And this has been an interesting thing kind of figuring out because so GitHub accepts applications and they're doing it on a very slow basis so that they can like build out their program, get their payments in order and stuff like that. And so like we got accepted and it was me and I had 3 or 4 other dbatools developers. Uh, and then you had to like come up with this. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to write. And then I kind of borrowed from other people that I liked their style, like this rock stuff. Like before, this was all super formal. I really like the emojis. But what you can do is, if you've benefited from any sort of open source project and you're into it, like for me, I love Dark Reader. And I have given to him through Open Collective. There's another one too. I don't think that it's a Chrome plugin, but I don't, oh, maybe it was Bogus, which helps with data masking. There have been a couple of them that I've given them money, and So with the recurring subscription, so you could do like $3 a month, you could do 5 or 8, and something that they'll be introducing later is like one-time offers. But something else that's cool is if you go to the dbatools repository, you can click here on sponsor. And there are other people within the organization like Sean, Stewart, and Sander that were also approved. At this time, we can only add 4. But then there's also external links. So we have Open Collective, which is what Pester is on right now. And then this one goes directly to me, which is the PayPal me, and then the Patreon. I don't really know about how to do the Patreon. I probably suck at it. But it's cool because, like, for me, I want to, there are expenses that come with DBA tools, like hosting and whatever. But what I'd really like is I have back problems and I want a standing desk. But because I can't, like, the one at work, I always have to get my coworkers to come in and help me pull it up and then push it down because it's manual. But I have really messed up shoulders. I actually thought that I was going to have to quit doing computers and become a teacher or a trainer. But then miraculously, my shoulders pulled through, and I do have to watch them every day. But that's part of that, to continue for a long time is getting a standing desk and maintaining health and stuff like that. And so the one that I want is fully electric so that I don't have to call in Lou to be like, hey, can you please come help me pick up my desk like I do at work, or, pick up, I don't know what it's called, the little lifter. And so the one that I want is like $2,000. And if I could get enough, then I can get it sooner. Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, so I had a friend who had the electric one from IKEA, and I was like, why can't I just go get that? And he was like, because it works and only sometimes. Yeah, and somebody else pointed that out too, because you have to sit there and hold it. So Adelio said, I have the electric. I wish that I had one with memory for settings. I think it was Shane that said that he had wanted that as well. So whenever I pick it, to make sure that it had the memory, because you have to sit there and you go up and then you're like, skirt, 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 just a little bit, and then you go a little bit down and a little bit up. And so that is actually something that I need to look into for the one. It's also hard because I'm only familiar with American brands, but something as big as a desk can't be sent here. And so uh, I have to go with brands that I'm not super familiar with. So the one that I want is based out of the UK. Something else, if any of you guys want to contribute, let's see, hold on. Let me go to SQL Collaborative. If any of you guys want to contribute to Rob, he is also available. And I like these little things. I started putting little emojis because I saw somebody else do it, and I thought it was awesome. I like the little DBA check mark. So if you go to DBA checks and you click on sponsor, Rob is there, so you can sponsor him as well. And then once you do, it'll show up on your own GitHub profile as a sponsor. And then it'll, if you want, you can also, it shows the public sponsors. You can also go private as well. So this is interesting. I much prefer that view. But let me see. You can also go through, let's see, December of last year. So I was getting ready for a conference, and in doing the conference, I had all of these. It was a conference. Then over here, this was whenever I was working on my chapter. And I was adding a bunch of files, a bunch of enhancements, because I was working on the chapter and I kept saying like, oh, it's not supported, it's not supported. And I thought that sucked. So I do book-driven development. So chapter 8 now has like way better command support, because I didn't want to write in the book that we didn't support something, and it was a lot of fun. And then let's see, around here, June 18th, what's that? That's, I'm pretty sure, yeah, so this little block was DBA Tools 1.0, as well as this little block, and that one too. So these little things are fun. There's if you go back to like 2017, I don't even know how, but oh, yeah, there was one like major burnout, like right here. I was so burnt out and depressed. And so I just barely did whatever. And this was my high school friend. I like that strip. My high school friend came from America, and then we just went all around Europe, and we had a ton of fun, and we ate like sardines in the car in Spain, and it was awesome. So now I'm gonna go back, and I think that I'm just going to close all but this, and I don't think that my brain is gonna come up with any better way, so I'll probably just ask for Rob's assistance. Because whenever like you've been staring at stuff, it sucks and you can't really do much. So let me go see where we're at. All right, here we go. All right, I'm almost done with this though. Each scan type has a different approach to blah blah. Now I just gotta find it on my screen. All right, so each scan type has a different approach to determining if a SQL Server component has been installed on a server. How's that? That sounds better. All right. Different scan types employ different methods. Nope, not doing that. Okay, so this ain't too bad. You can then scan this collection of computers using various scan types. Each scan type has a different approach to determining if a SQL Server component has been installed on a server. All right, I like it. Hey, that was cool. All I had to do was like go and do something else and then come back. Thank you for your super interaction, Adelio. You're the best. Oh, I think so. Adelio, just real quick, he's so prolific with his super cute designs, and this is one, and I effing love it. And yeah, so like there's a Delio all over my house because I took a lot of his stuff and I turned it into like stickers and buttons and stuff. A Delio did, I don't remember. I think I need to send you some. I don't know if I sent it with anybody who went from Europe to America. But you're so nice. He sends me stuff. Yeah, you sent me a whole bunch of a whole bunch of stickers, and I never get to the post office, but I think that I'm going to send you some and get to the post office because you're the best. All right. So now here we go. Do your readers know what scan types and enumeration discovery mean? The definition should appear as close as possible to the first time you use the phrase. CL done. Added definition above. So what's really cool about this is that I ended up not using anything from our scan types paragraph. Therefore, I could leave that there. But discovery, I'm going to have to reword that. Aw, of course, Adelio. Everywhere. I think it was like, so I put it on Twitter and then put it somewhere else. Oh, I think maybe on my Twitch. Yeah, and then oh, it's on my laptop. I handed it out at the conferences. I handed it out at work. I'm pretty sure that most of my colleagues, I don't think that they care about uh, PowerShare live streaming, but I'm just like, here, take it because it's the cutest thing ever. Although, actually, one of my coworkers, it's so nice because he is super into PowerShell as well. And um, So what's really great is like while I'm working on something, I'll be like, is there any way that you could like get me a command that does this? And then, and then I'm working on my other thing and we just like complement each other and go back and forth. And he's really, really good at PowerShell. He has, his name is Joe, and he actually has a PowerShell module called BS Code Backup, I think. But it's so cool because I get to go back and forth at work with a coworker, and we just like high five about PowerShell all the time. Yes. Tag for what? I like YAG though. I do readers know. Okay, I added that, so hopefully I don't feel like it's really that good, but let's see. All right, so I had used the discovery types. And she's like, you need a transition. Like, let's look at each of those. It's true, I'm terrible. Any examples you can use to illustrate the types? All right, so this is going to take some brain power. Give me 1 second. All right, let's get some brain power going on. I'm going to skip this right here because this is more of the hard stuff that I had a hard time with just now, and I want to get my brain on a different track. Data source enumeration, it asks the current network for information about instances that are advertised by the SQL Server browser service. In order for instances to be reported, the firewall must allow UDP port 11434. The browser service must be running, and the SQL Server instance cannot be hidden. According to Microsoft, the list of servers returned can also change with each execution based on the network saturation, server performance, and other constraints. Considering this lack of reliability, data source enumeration shouldn't be the only discovery source. Nevertheless, we think it's good to have as part of an overall holistic approach. All right, she has a good point. When would you use it? All right, let's determine. Ask the current network for information about instances that are advertised by the SQL Server browser service. This is the simplest, I don't know, let's just say, and least invasive. Any examples you can use to illustrate the types? Okay, I'm going the wrong way. Using this discovery type would be useful when I'm gonna sip on my drink and think. I mean, it's how people used to do it, but it's just not like, it's not super helpful. If you guys are wondering, so data source enumeration is this. I'll show you how in SQL Server Management Studio and then in PowerShell. All right, so you see this browse for more? When you browse for more, no way. Network servers, there we go. So this retrieving of the data, this is that discovery type. Maybe. No, I probably do it later on. Yeah, I do. All right, that looks familiar. Um, just like how I'm sitting here being like, dude, I don't know when people would use this because it's all right. It's one of the ways. This relies on the browser service, and the browser service allows you to do this backslash instance name, because otherwise, like, all of these are on default port 1433, but named instances generally are not. And therefore, you have to have the browser service running. Otherwise, whenever I connect, like let's say I connect to this, it wouldn't know which port to hit. The way that people get around that, so some people require, or some organizations require, that you disable browser services. So what you would do is like 1433. So you just do like that. This hit another one, but whatever. Let me see. I'll just ask the internet when to use when to use SQL browser service. Let me get some. Let me see what if Microsoft says about it. SSWUG. I remember them. I used to be a part of it. All right. See, the issue that I'm having is that this isn't like why you should use the browser service. This is just why you should know where your stuff is. Here's some background that might help. I might have to skip saying that part. Like there just might not be. I think I have writer's block. Mm. Mm-mm. Nope. All right, that wasn't helpful. Whew. My eyes. Ah, much better. It's true. Maybe I should. But I just keep taking breaks. I think that the answer here is that I might not be able to provide, because I do have example scenarios and other ones. It might just be that data source enumeration. I could also ask Rob. So let's see. If I continue having the problem, then I'm gonna take a break. Uh, uh. Oh yeah, this was the thing that we were talking about before. Do not try to use. Don't try to avoid above and below. I think that the problem with this is that it needs to be told as a story. And the way that I organized this chapter makes it more of a very rigid approach. It's not very month of lunchies, I think. What do you think, Adelio? You are sort of um, the target audience. You, let's see. So I would imagine that you're a systems engineer who sometimes messes with SQL Server. I'm gonna look at the other month of lunches and see if I could get some inspiration. Accidental DBA. Are you? That's super cool. I didn't even realize that. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible friend. I'm sorry. Hey. All right, I have an idea. Okay, so I was just looking through this book. It's the SQL Server in a Month of Lunches. But what I could do, aha! All right, man, I better hurry up and sit and do this before I forget. Okay, so fucking, of course, it's true. Okay, all right. Discovery types. All right, so let's say you want to find it driven by domain, right? Okay, let's say finding, I don't know, SQL servers based on domain. So then instead of like going through, like this changes the narrative to be, instead of like a step by step, it kind of tells a story. So let's see, doing it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yes, finding SQL servers based on network whatever. All right, IP range. Okay, okay. And then like finding everything. Oh, that's so much better. I wonder if I should take tomorrow off. All right. That's finding everything is all, and then, all right, so, oh, this is so much better. Okay, so that's for the discovery types. And then let's see how we're going to tell the same story with scan types. I think that instead of dividing it up by scan type and discovery type, that I'm just going to do both. So discovery, I'll just put that, discovery, and scan. I don't like, talk about it that way. That way I just smash it up. Using it by, yeah, so the SP, so the browser is like, most of that goes under network, whatever. Fuck yes. Okay. Okay. I think that I'm done here for the day. Thank you all for joining me. And thank you for the interesting whatever that people will actually say in a live stream that is silent whenever you're writing a book. That is something that I'll be thinking about forever because it's very interesting to me. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, Clone Style, and I will see you all on Twitter.